money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from my
Also known as Duck Corella.
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminal.
You got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminal.
You have any profession?
Welcome to the grand jury, folks. Happy Friday night. I'm Joe Lanou, your host as we review police use of force incidents or videos through the lens of a grand jury. A grand jury is a jury of your peers that makes decisions on felony crimes as to bring formal charges or not. My role as the host is to present evidence, footage, context, and details to our panel of 5 volunteers from the Pub Chat, the X-Space, the Pub Chat X-Space show, guys. If you haven't seen them on X, that's absolutely a space to get into. They'll keep you up to date on all things political and what some Washington insiders ago, but what Washington insiders know. Let's go to some of our guests. Tonight we have Drax. Drax is going to be playing as foreman tonight, keeping these guys wrangled in. But Drax, what do people need to know about you?
Oh, hey, Joe, it's been great to be here, man. We've been trying to get this together for a while, so it's just a great time. I host with these other 2 you're going to meet here on Pub Chat Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 p.m. on the X platform. And, it's good to have a break, I think. We do a lot of political news and stuff. We try to throw some comedy in there, but it's always great to have a break and get to do something different. So I'm really looking forward to tonight, and we really appreciate you having us.
Man, it's my pleasure. And you're right. We have worked on this for a few weeks trying to get this coordinated. I'm glad we made it out. We've also got Kay Daly. Kay Daly is a host on the Pub Chat. And when I say Washington insiders, she's the one that'll keep you squared away on what's really going on and not necessarily what the media is saying. But Kay, welcome. What do people need to know about you?
Thank you so much, Joe. I've spent 40 years actually in strategic and crisis communications, both in Washington, D.C., and in Hollywood and in the corporate world. But I'm married to a lawyer, so I'm very interested in the grand jury, and thank you for having us tonight.
Always my pleasure. We've also got Roden. Roden was a common co-host on Pub Chat. She is a American citizen, but I believe she may hail from the great country of Russia. So she's always got a wonderful look on how Americans view their freedoms. I really like Roden's view on things. Roden, what's something else that people need to know about you?
Oh, I'm a fierce anti-communist fighter, and I actually came from Ukraine, not Russia, but that's why people call me Soviet, because that was a part of the Soviet Union. So if you want to hear anything about the communism, I can tell you how bad it is.
My apologies, I got stuck on another platform there. Now, we've got the Ken Walls tonight. Ken Walls has a podcast on Facebook. Am I right, Ken? Are you with us, Ken? Is my audio getting out? Let's go to Buckster.
Hey, how's it going, Joe?
What do folks need to know about you?
There's not too much to know about me, except that I'm a Marine. After retirement from that, I've been in banking for quite a while. I hang out with the Pub Chat crew all the time. I'm a contributor and a supporter, and love to talk just about anything.
Awesome, my friend. Let's get here. If somebody could send Jason an invite to the stream, that would be great.
I did that.
Perfect. We should have him in here in just a moment. Let's go over some rules. The jurors may only consider evidence presented here. They must use the reasonable person standard, and they must use the probable cause level of proof. More likely than not, a crime has occurred and that the actor is responsible for said crime. We're going to use Texas laws as a legal lens to view these incidents, regardless of where they may have occurred, for no other reason than simplicity. We've got our co-host tonight, Big Ron. Big Ron's going to keep us in time and present evidence for us. But Big Ron, while we're doing this, let's put up what a grand jury is. The grand jury, it's a secretive assembly of citizens serve for a specific time. They hear testimony, examine evidence, and witnesses under the prosecutor's guidance to decide if there's enough probable cause to indict someone for a crime, all without a judge or a defense attorney in the room. Their role is to evaluate whether the evidence suggests a crime was committed and if the accused is likely responsible. No unanimous vote needed here. For our show, just a majority. By the way, folks, for most grand juries, it's just a majority as well. But they also have a mission. Big Ron, can you give us the mission? There we go. A grand jury's core mission is to decide if there's enough probable cause to indict someone, but what does that mean? In legal terms, probable cause is a standard of evidence that's more than a hunch, but less than beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a reasonable belief based on facts and circumstances that a crime was committed and the person accused is likely responsible. Think of it as good enough to keep playing threshold. Let's talk about a reasonable person. A reasonable person is a legal standard referring to a hypothetical individual who exercises average care, skill, and judgment in conduct as a prudent person would under similar circumstances. So when we talk about a reasonable person, we're not necessarily talking about you as an individual. You want to look at it as not the smartest guy in the room, but not the dumbest guy in the room, kind of how would the average person react to these things. Big Ron, show us probable cause. Probable cause is the legal standard where there is a reasonable basis supported by facts, circumstances, to believe that a crime has been committed and that a specific person is responsible, justifying actions like arrest or search, and in this case, as for a grand jury, whether to indict someone or formally charge them with a crime or not. All right, just like with any grand jury, we have expert witnesses, but tonight our expert witness is Jason. Jason with 3D Response. He's a 30-year veteran of law enforcement and the creator of the 3D Response school safety system. Jason, what's some things people need to know about you?
Background, started off as patrol officer, field training officer, school resource officer, undercover narcotics sergeant, lieutenant, active shooter instructor, mental health officer, kind of ran the gauntlet in law enforcement, and started a company to keep our kids safe based upon my role as a school cop and my active shooter instructing, and kind of took the bull by the horn and said, let's put the response on steroids and give the kids the tools, and that's what we did.
Very good. And for those who may have some questions about the 3D response system, I've got a bit of a commercial we're going to run later so that it'll better explain it to you. I can't recommend or stand behind this product that he has strong enough. It is a game changer when it comes to our kids' safety. All right, tonight, the format we're going to use, we're going to have 3 phases. A presentation phase where we'll look at evidence, including video footage of the incident and anything else that may occur or that the prosecutor may have for you. At the conclusion of the presentation phase, we'll move immediately into the examination phase. This is where grand jury is unique out of all other juries that you may serve on, is that you get to ask questions. During the examination phase, the jury will be able to ask questions of our expert, Jason, who can weigh in on police practices. He can't give an opinion. Some of our grand jurors have asked him, is like, what would you have done? That's not a reasonable person. Not saying Jason is not a reasonable person, but that's not how the reasonable person standard should be applied. But you'll be able to ask Jason general questions about law enforcement. At the conclusion of the examination phase, we'll move directly into deliberations. This is going to be led by our jury foreman tonight, and that's going to be Drax. Drax is going to whip the vote. He's going to allow deliberations. Everyone should have an opportunity to say what they think about the incident that they just saw. Be able to discuss this, debate it. He can have as many straw votes as he needs. But when we have 3 votes, either for a true bill or a no bill on the finding of the cause, then that'll be the vote. And you get to do all that in 10 minutes, Drax. You're going to be under the clock, and that clock's right above your head. You start sweating at about 1 and 2 minutes to get a verdict out. But that's how we'll move it around tonight. Okay, folks, do we have any questions before we begin with our first case?
You guys
With that, let's get started, Big Ron. Let's go to case number 1.
The incident happened around noon after an NMSP officer conducted a traffic stop on a white GMC pickup truck driven by 75-year-old Dennis Jones in Truth or Consequences. The officer ran the license plate and learned Jones, the registered owner, had an active arrest warrant for a probation violation in Arizona for sexual assault. And a pursuit ensued northbound onto New Mexico Highway 181. The pursuit ended after Jones stopped and exited his vehicle in the middle of Highwinds Road, north of Truth or Consequences. The officer exited his patrol vehicle and gave Jones verbal commands to surrender.
Hello, sir. I'm also Virgin Assistant Police. We give a stop, sir. Is a registered owner of this vehicle probably has a warrant. You bought this new one recently? You have a driver's license on you then? Are you from Arizona at all? Long never ever? You have the registration and insurance for the vehicle? No weapons or anything on you right now? Alright, if you can't find it, can you just step out for me and we're gonna walk back to my unit, alright? Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. I had him pulling a gun on me. I need assistance, please. He's taking off right now.
We have sharp fires
The following video shows the end of the officer's pursuit, which led to the second shooting incident.
10-4, he's going up a Highwinds Road up to a property. back. He's shooting back. Shots fired. Shots fired. He's shooting. Put your hands up!
SoCal, Motor 9, were you directed that last shooting, sir?
He's down on the ground. Possibly hit.
10-4 direct male down, possibly hit.
Put your hands up! Let me see your hands!
Firearm is possibly in his left hand.
Okay, folks, that's your evidence. That's all we have on this scene. The initial contact was what they believed to be a person wanted on a felony warrant. A traffic stop was conducted, and you saw how it played out there. We have all screwed up here. Let me see if I can do some producing real quick for us. Maybe I can make that happen. Okay, I think we're back right. Jason, do you want to weigh in on police procedures on this one?
I'm more curious about, I didn't see what happened in the initial traffic stop, what the officer saw. That's my only, as far as the procedures go, I would say, I don't want to give away too much here, so I'll just leave it there right now.
We should have some time after this to kind of go back and beat that up once we have a verdict from our jury. But I think you're going to, the way I'm looking at it is I'm going to believe the officer on his word that there were shots exchanged at the second stop, that he brandished and pointed a firearm at him, causing him, he acted like a firearm was pointed at him. But no, there is no video of the actual first incidents where the gun from the accused or the suspect in this case, when that actually came out. Okay, grand jury, this is where we're going to open up the examination phase. This is where you guys are take the lead, ask questions, go back and watch any part of this video that you'd like. I'm here to make that happen for you, and then we'll go to deliberations. Drax, anything?
Well, I would definitely say, I'd go with the cop if the guy's guilty as hell. That's my opinion.
I'm not asking for your opinion, brother. I'm asking you to have any questions before you start to deliberate.
No, I don't. No. Got it.
Anyone else in the grand jury? Anything you want to see again?
Actually, yeah. I'd be interested in seeing the beginning again, because what is the procedure? Well, why did he pull him over? And do you have the ability to figure out instantly whether or not there is a warrant out?
Yes, you can, but the subject couldn't produce a driver's license to get verify his identification. License plate came back to the registered owner being wanted out of Arizona, which is, that's enough probable cause to pull it over. But then you need to identify is that the person driving the car? And that's what he was in the process of doing. But let's go back and listen to it. If you listen to the original statements by the New Mexico Public Information Officer, she explains the purpose of the contact.
And a pursuit ensued northbound onto New Mexico Highway 181. The pursuit ended after Jones stopped and exited his vehicle. After an NMSP officer conducted a traffic stop on a white GMC pickup truck driven by 75-year-old Dennis Jones in Truth or Consequences. The officer ran the license plate and learned Jones, the registered owner, had an active arrest warrant for a probation violation in Arizona for sexual assault. And a pursuit ensued northbound onto New Mexico Highway 1.
Kate, is that cleared up for you as the reason for the initial contact?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Perfect. Does anybody want to see the initial contact where the officer actually steps away after he sees the gun?
Yes, please.
You have a driver's license on you then?
So there he's asking for the driver's license. And if you'll listen in just a few seconds or maybe even a minute from now, he'll say, well, if you can't find it, why don't you just step out of the vehicle?
Are you from Arizona at all? Long never ever? You have the registration and insurance for the vehicle? No weapons or anything on you right now?
While we're waiting on this, let me clear up some gallery questions. Grandma Kate asked, why is the officer's body cam looking at the car door? It's just where it's positioned on his body. He's standing next to the car door, just like you would. The body camera is probably lower on his torso, and that's giving you the advantage that you're looking at there. We also had another question about, from Jessica, exactly what is a lawful stop? A lawful stop for everyone, would be a stop where an officer has legitimate authority to detain you. A traffic violation if you're operating a motor vehicle on a public roadway and they run your license plate and your tags are expired, or you meet any one of the numerous volumes in your states for a traffic code is a violation, then the officer can make a stop and it creates what's called a constructive custody. You're not free to leave, and that would be considered a lawful stop.
Joe, can I backtrack a little bit on Kay's question? And to also piggyback lawful stop, a lot of people think you need probable cause for a stop. You do not. You need reasonable suspicion for a stop. That's the reason for a stop. So you could have no traffic violation. You could have a vehicle driving through a neighborhood at 2 o'clock in the morning that we've had burglaries in there, and you pull them over because it's suspicious that we have a history there. But to go back to the case thing, when you run the license plate, it'll come back with a physical description. And this guy, being the registered owner of the vehicle, was older. And when this officer walks up and he matches, you can match the physical description of the driver based upon the information you got back from the license plate, which is going to lead your reasonable suspicion into, okay, this is probably the guy. So if that answers your question.
Okay. Let's keep going with the video and let's get to deliberations.
Question asked for video, Joe.
And the camera's going in and out of focus because he's holding something in front of it. This whole time he's waiting for him to produce a driver's license. I would say by the officer's reaction, whether we saw the gun or not, he saw something that disturbed him to the point that he needed to take some defensive measures immediately on that. Do we have any more questions or any other parts of the video that we want to see before we go to deliberations?
Can you
Joe, I
guys
have
hear
one
me?
question.
I can hear you now, Ken.
Okay.
Joe, it's Buck. I have one question. Did they find the weapon? Because we didn't get to see that.
If you look at the top of the frame, you'll see the pistol between the deceased person's legs.
Thank you.
Was it legally registered was a weapon legally registered to the individual in the car, or was it a stolen weapon?
I would say for justifiable homicide in this case, it doesn't matter. And folks, when you're deciding this, you can only use information up into the trigger pull. Any information that would be known to the officer after the trigger pull, you can't decide, because that was not information that a reasonable person would have used to make the decision to defend their life or not defend their life, if that makes any sense.
Hey, Joe, can we address this question from the gallery?
I don't know why you're not being able to hear what's being said. Our volumes are all the way up in the studio, so no, I
think
can't
they're
address
talking about why they can't hear the conversation from the car. They're only hearing one side.
Okay, it's just the abilities of the mic and in the situation where the officer's standing, and with the road traffic noise, you can't hear it. And depending on how loud the driver was actually speaking, the officer could hear him because they were having a conversation and he was responding. But you got to remember, these aren't filmed on a movie set. You got to take them as they come with this body cam video. And thanks for clearing me up on that, because I was like, oh, if that's a technical issue, Grandma, I'm not going to be able to help you. I'm at the length of my knowledge with what I'm doing now. Okay, let's go to deliberations. Big Ron? All right, folks, you see the 10-minute verdict clock up there? It'll start ticking in just a moment, and that's your time. I turn it over to you, Drax. Whip these guys into shape, and let's get a verdict.
Neat. So what do you think, Kay? Old man went ballistic there. Camera sucked, but they got a gun.
Yeah, in this case, I'm going to have to agree with you, Drax, on this one. But, look out for the next couple ones. I might just 12 angry minute. But this one looks pretty cut and dry.
Kind of took it to
Are
be
we allowed to ask questions during deliberation?
Yeah, shoot. What do you got?
How long has had the officer been an officer? How much experience did he have?
That information is not unknown. I would say he's probably between 2 and 5 years. Jason, what would your guess be?
Yeah, I'd go 1 to 3, but yeah, younger.
And is that the only charge there?
The only thing the grand jury is looking at today is that the homicide was justifiable or not. Was it a justifiable use of force in defense of yourself or a third person?
I'd say it's definitely not, Kay. The cop looked like he was trying to work with him, and the gun just started.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, if the guy had not pulled first, and I would wonder if there were procedures in place so that it would ramp, taser, that sort of thing. But clearly, he was fired upon, and that's pretty cut and dry.
Let's go to our expert on that case. Jason, would taser be appropriate when someone pulls out a gun?
The expression of bringing a knife falls in suit there. No, you don't bring less lethal with deadly force presented at you.
Concur that, Kay. I agree. He used all the deadly force. I mean, what do you think, Buck?
Yeah, this was definitely justified. They found the weapon at the end of it. I noticed in the picture the hammer was back, so he was intending to fire. I didn't hear how many rounds he actually fired at the officer, but these guys have split-second decisions to make. So when they see a weapon, yeah, they have to pull their weapon. That's my opinion. So this was justified.
Roldy, what do you think, Roldan?
Completely justified.
Mr. Walls, justified.
Yep, he probably should have done it twice. I'm kidding. Yes, definitely justified.
All right, I think we're good to have him press on.
Okay, Foreman, do we have a verdict?
Guilty.
Well, you're not looking for guilty. You're looking for true or not true, essentially. So you would say this would not be true for a homicide, that it was justifiable. Is that the vote?
Yeah, it's justifiable.
That'd be a true bill. No, that would be a no bill, my friend. There we go. No bill, no formal charges. The officer gets to go on about his life. All right, we have 6 minutes that we can discuss this, and I would actually like to. But Jason, I'm going to go to you first on the law enforcement procedures portion of this. And Kay, in the jury, this is when I'll allow Jason to start talking about procedural things. I kind of cut you guys off when it gets to prior to the verdict, because you're only really allowed to take into consideration what the officer would have, information the officer would have had to make a decision, and make a decision standing in a reasonable person's shoes. So, but now we can talk a little crap about the officer if we like. Go ahead, Jason. Give me your assessment on this.
So the initial approach, I like the passenger side with the trafficker side. The conversation, I did not like his positioning at the truck. He kind of put himself front and center. And like I said before, you get a physical description of the guy on your screen, or dispatch will tell you. And this is not a 19-year-old kid. This is an elderly gentleman who has a sex crime warrant out for him, or probation violation warrant out for him. I'm assuming a gun was exposed at the traffic stop. It does not have to be pointed at you. If he pulls out a gun during a conversation, the one thing that I think I would have done as him, I would have lit the shit out of him if he pulled out a gun asking for his driver license. I think he didn't go aggressive enough. And then when the guy took off, there was no sense of urgency. When the guy stopped at the final time, I like the fact he created that distance, because he knows there's a gun in that car, and he switched to a rifle. And I like the fact he used his vehicle as cover or at least what I saw. But I think the second stop was better than the first. But I'm being critical. I can't help but watch these and look at how would I have reacted to it.
I have a question for Jason.
Go ahead.
Jason, pulling over a known felon of a serious crime like that, once identified for certain, would it not be procedure to call for backup at that point?
Typically, when you pull behind a car and you run a plate, you're going back to the reasonable suspicion part of this, is that the RO, the registered owner, has a warrant. You don't know yet if the driver is the registered owner, who is the guy that has the warrant. In most jurisdictions across this nation, if that information comes out over the air, your partners will respond to you just naturally because of what could happen. At least experienced cops will respond that way. So in this case, I don't fault the officer for the traffic stop. I do fault him for the vehicle approach and his positioning at the truck.
Jason, I've got a question. When you're pulling someone over, I mean, I agree. I was kind of wondering why he went to the passenger side, but moreover, I know the warrant comes up. Does his criminal history come up as well? So that, if he is a convicted felon, for instance, he's not allowed to have a weapon. What kinds of crimes he commits, any violence against officers, does that come up?
The original charge, or why, in this case, it was a probation violation, and they will tell you why he's on probation. And from what I heard, it was a sex offense. So that would be 90% of the time a felony. But I mean, all that stuff you're talking about is after the fact. You can add a convicted felon in possession of a firearm afterwards. In this moment, I just want to go home, and I'm not going to get shot right now.
And guys, while we don't get into procedures too much, and there was a comment I want to bring back up from Jessica. A supervising officer should be there to corroborate the protocol was or wasn't followed. When we're looking at criminal charges, we can't use whether they violated policy or they broke some sort of protocol. You do look at reasonable training and how a reasonable officer behaves. If they're doing things that would be obvious to anyone that it's a violation of protocol, then you might be able to consider that, but in a totality of the circumstances sort of way. When it comes down to this grand jury process, grand jury is the only filter we have between us and the government as a citizen. And an officer, when they're being charged, you're not making a judgment on the police department. You're not making a judgment on the sheriff's department, the state police, or even the FBI. You're making a judgment on an individual. Because if this person has done something wrong and you send them into the justice system to be tried by 12, and those 12 find that person guilty, he alone will go to prison and serve that sentence. His liberties will be taken, not the sheriff's office, not the cop that you didn't like down the street, not the FBI, not Kash Patel. None of those people will go serve that sentence. It's what we have as Americans when we're charged with a crime or accused of a crime. We have the right to this grand jury. So a supervising officer being there to corroborate protocol, your actions could get you fired from the police department, but not indicted criminally, if that makes any sense. But that's why I do push off on procedural questions. I want to say one more thing about this officer. I say he's between 2 and 5 years. If he was more than 5 years, I think he would handle this different. He goes to the radio after every turn. Shots are fired. I'll tell you, he's telling dispatch shots are fired. His distance, I think, was a little too far, and he wasn't in a real hurry to catch this guy. He was nervous. And I think some of that was a lack of experience, in my opinion. And Jason, you got 15 seconds to chime in on that if you want to counter.
No, I agree. With a handgun, I don't mind the distance. If he's got an AR, I don't mind the distance at all if he's already seen it. I was fine with the second stop. The first stop, I would have done something different.
Okay, we're out of time. And Jessica, do not stop asking questions. It's not really a stupid question. It's something that I'm glad you brought up, because it's a distinction when a jury's making a decision. It's not like it is on television. All these emotions don't come into play. Our justice system is intentionally trying to pull the emotions out. You don't get to use emotion. State doesn't get to use emotions in the grand jury. They don't get to use emotions in the prosecution's trial. If you are found guilty, they will throw the emotions down your throat, because that's when the victims get to come in and talk about it. That's when they get to talk about your criminal history. That's when they get to talk about all the other bad things you've done in your life, so they can get you a good sentence. But none of that is allowed prior to someone being found guilty, because everyone has the presumption of innocence. But with that long tirade, let's go to case number 2. This is Big Ron's stomping ground.
A little bit of
I'm Mike
JSO
Shell,
action.
Chief of Professional Standards for the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Today we are releasing information regarding an officer-involved shooting that occurred in the front yard of a trailer located in the 7800 block of Lenox Avenue in Jacksonville, Florida on May 14th, 2025. This information will provide you with a better understanding of what happened, as well as what was known to law enforcement prior to the incident. Due to Benvenuti's behavior in the hours before the critical incident, there was an active arrest warrant for Benvenuti's arrest for discharging a weapon in public, unlawful display of a firearm, and resisting an officer without violence. At 8:19 p.m. on May 13th, 2025, patrol officers responded to a residential property in the 7800 block of Lenox Avenue. Multiple individuals had made emergency calls reporting that a man, later identified as Benvenuti, was repeatedly shooting off rounds from a firearm. When officers arrived on scene, they observed Benvenuti standing on the front porch of the trailer holding a handgun. Benvenuti immediately retreated inside the trailer. These first responding officers made repeated commands over a police loudspeaker system for Benvenuti to disarm and come outside the trailer. Benvenuti refused to comply and remained barricaded. Based on their own observations and information provided to them by eyewitnesses, officers drafted and were granted a warrant for the arrest of Benvenuti on charges of discharging a weapon in public, unlawful display of a firearm, and resisting an officer without violence. Because Benvenuti remained armed and barricaded inside the trailer, patrol officers requested JSO's SWAT team to serve the arrest warrant.
Okay, this drone footage doesn't have any audio, so we can kind of talk through it, but this is after the SWAT call out. It's a call out for a barricaded person. I mean, someone that is barricaded inside of a home, either threatening themselves or threatening others, which this guy's meeting that. You can see the firearm in his hand here as he's on the porch. This goes on for some time. More information. This gentleman lives at his trailer house, but his family lives around him. He's going to leave this location in a moment, and the house that he goes to is a family member's home. Keep that in mind. And I don't see how he's not damaging his feet walking amongst all that debris barefooted. And I don't know if he's caught the text earlier. Family members during this process told them that they believe that he's undiagnosed schizophrenic, and that he self-medicates with methamphetamine and commonly hallucinates. And the law enforcement family believe he's having that same episode tonight, the same sort of episode tonight. Well, on this night, not necessarily tonight. So he's pointing this stick at law enforcement. They're all around. They've got both houses surrounded.
Come around. Hey! Put your hands up! Put your hands up!
Go back! Go back! Go back! Get the
Put your
fuck
hands
back!
up!
Get the fuck back! I'm
He's got
calling
a
my
gun in
mom.
his hand.
I'm calling my mom.
Drop the gun. Drop
Go
the
back.
gun.
Drop the gun. Mom.
Drop the gun.
Where's my mom? Where's my mom?
Sir,
Where
drop
is
the
I'm
gun.
here to my mom. I'm here to my brother and my mom.
No! Do not!
Don't fucking fuck with me.
No! Drop the gun!
It's my
Drop the
mom.
gun! Do not walk
Drop
up the gun!
It's my mother. She's gonna kill me.
He's still moving. Hold on. Hold on. I can't see his right hand.
Hold on. Suspect's down on the porch of the neighboring house. We're still covering him.
Might be coming.
Come around. Hey! Put your hands up! Put your hands up!
Go back. Go back. Go back. Get the
Put your
fuck
hands
back.
up!
Get the fuck back. I'm
He's got a
calling my
gun in his
mom.
hand.
I'm calling my
Hey,
mom.
drop
I'm
the
ready.
gun.
Drop
Go
the
back.
gun.
Go
Drop the
back.
gun!
Mom.
Drop the gun!
Where's my mom? Where's my mom?
Sir,
Where is
drop the
I'm here
gun.
to my mom. I'm here to my brother and my mom.
No! Do not!
Don't fucking fuck with me.
No!
Drop the gun!
Drop the
mom.
gun! Do not walk
Drop
up
the
there!
gun!
It's my mother. She's gonna kill me.
He's still moving. Hold on. Hold on. I can't see his right hand.
Hold on. Suspect's down on the porch of the neighboring house. We're still covering him.
Don't let him get to that other house.
You might be coming this way.
Don't let him get to the other house. Get him in there, perimeter. Initiate, go.
Hey! Put your hands up! Put your hands up!
Go back. Go back. Go back. Get the
Put
fuck
your hands
back.
up!
Get the fuck back.
He's
I'm
got a
calling
gun in
my
his
mom.
hand.
I'm calling my
Hey,
mom.
drop the gun!
Go back.
Drop the gun!
Mom.
Drop the gun!
Where's my mom? Where's my mom?
Sir,
Where
drop the
I'm
gun.
here to my mom. I'm here to my brother and my mom.
No! Do not!
Move up close
Don't fucking fuck with me.
No!
Drop the gun!
Drop the gun! Do not walk up there!
Gun!
Start moving
It's
up
my
there.
mother. She's gonna
Hey, he's still moving. Hold on. Hold on. I can't see his right hand.
Suspect's down
on the porch
of the
neighboring house. We're still covering him.
All right, folks, there's your video evidence of the incident. Jason, you ready to weigh in?
I'm going to let them ask me a question before I weigh in.
Very good. This is the examination phase, grand jury. You get to ask questions. We can watch the video again. The ball's in your court.
Well, Jason, it seemed it started at one place and it took off over to his mom's house. How did the SWAT let him roam over there and not deal with him in the first place?
I thought the same thing. They had a good perimeter set up. What your question brings up what I was going to say, and your thought is going to the right path. There's something called the priorities of life, and those that have heard us talk before on this thing, law enforcement across this nation, every time they go into something like this, they have priorities of life. The first priority of life is the life of the victim. The second is the priority of life of the innocent or the bystanders. The third is the officers themselves, and the fourth is the suspect. So if you take that categorization in mind, this played out with whose priority is number one. It's the innocent and the victim. So let that play into your mind right now to make this decision.
I've
Yeah,
got
and
a
I was
lot of
thinking the same
questions.
thing, Kay. I don't know that he cleared it up. He made it more difficult, I think.
Right. I got a lot of questions, but I will stick with just one. The procedure for, shots have been fired, but not at a law enforcement officer. They were just fired before they got there. Isn't it a bit extreme to just why didn't they take him down before he barricaded himself in the house? I'm trying to, we don't see that, but obviously.
Without getting into too much detail and kind of deliberating here, is that there was a domestic violence call. Initially gets law enforcement involved in this family's life. There's more than just one guy. There's a family that lived in this group of trailers. They get there. He'd been shooting firearms to the point that his family was afraid of him, and this is where law enforcement gets involved. So even though he didn't shoot at law enforcement, I think that we're going to ask you to do is it reasonable to think that others could have believed that he was dangerous or he had a propensity or demonstrated a propensity for danger? I think that's really the question that you guys are going to deliberate about.
But since he did not fire on law enforcement, wouldn't there be some way to take him down without killing him right then? I mean, at his own trailer when he was standing at the doorway.
We can talk about it afterwards, but in this case, what you're looking for is, let's go to the deliberation instructions, Big Ron. Put them up. You're with me, Big Ron? There we go. Here's what we're looking for. It's justifiable homicide. So homicide means that one person caused the death of another. Not necessarily unlawful, but it means that one person's actions or one person caused the death of another human being. One human being caused the death of another. That's homicide. We're looking at the officer's use of deadly force, which we observed that. They used a firearm, they engaged him, and it resulted in just that, deadly force. If a reasonable person would believe it was necessary to, 1, protect themselves or others from imminent death or serious bodily harm, or 2, stop a fleeing suspect who poses a clear, immediate danger to others. Either you've got to come to yes on one or both of those questions to be a no bill. Does that help?
It was completely justified.
Roden, I need you to calm down for a second. We'll get to deliberations.
I have a question. Were the family members home?
I do not have that information. I would think they were probably, well, I guess they could have been. I don't know. I don't have that information.
Did the officers know that they were dealing with someone who potentially had a mental illness?
Yes, family members, they were there sometime. This didn't happen in the time of the video. This went on for several hours to the point that a SWAT call had been called. Family members had told police that they believe he suffers from schizophrenia, although he's never been diagnosed with it, but they think for years that he suffered with that. He self-medicates with methamphetamine, and that he commonly it's common for him to hallucinate. This is what law enforcement knew, and then they call a SWAT call out on a barricaded person, and that's pretty much where the video takes up, is when the drone is in the air.
Was he threatening the law enforcement officers during that time that SWAT was there? I mean, verbally threatening?
Now, you're going to have to go on what you see and answer the questions on the instructions. I feel like if I go any further, then you and I are deliberating. And I'm happy to do after you guys come to a decision, but I don't want to influence it.
You want to take a look at that first part again, Kay? Before he goes to Mama's house?
No, that's all right.
Yeah, I was just wondering if, wow. Well, he's schizophrenic, so
Any questions, guys?
Him, but it's not diagnosed.
Do we have any questions? If not, I'm going to turn it to deliberation so you guys can talk about it.
Turn it on.
Let's go.
You heard him, Big Ron. Let's go. Deliberations. All right, folks, you have 10 minutes.
All right, the
That's-
guy was
it's up to you.
schizophrenic. He uses methamphetamines. He was probably on methamphetamines. He had a gun in his hand, and literally seconds before they used deadly force, as he's waving his hands around walking up the steps, he says, "Don't fuck with me. Don't you fuck with me." And, well, they fucked with him.
Yeah,
So,
but he wasn't.
I mean,
they said they wanted to diagnose with schizophrenia. That was their thought, that he has. The family thinks he's got that undiagnosed.
oh, I missed that. Because
that's what until it was undiagnosed. I don't know.
Well, they thought he was on meth, at least, right? So
Yeah, methamphetamine.
He was using something.
It doesn't really matter. It's the fact that he was fleeing with a gun, and he
Right.
was actually posing a clear immediate danger to others, which is his mother or whoever is in there. Doesn't matter what he is or what he was.
I agree with that, Roden. I don't often agree with you, Roden, but I agree with that.
Oh, thank God. I don't know. What would I do without it?
Oh my goodness. My only issue is if he didn't fire on the officers, aren't there steps that they could have taken that were less lethal? I mean, was there any effort to do something before that? But
Kay,
It
I want you to
doesn't
think about
matter.
this. I want you to think about this, Kay. This guy is obviously unstable. He had been repeatedly refusing the officer's commands for, it sounds like, several hours. If he got back into that house and he was on meth, whether he was schizo or not, they would have had another hostage situation or a death, in which case the police would be up on charges for not dropping him and allowing him to kill somebody else. Not to mention the fact, when you're a police officer, I mean, I was never a police officer, but I can tell you, if somebody's got a loaded weapon, whether they point it at me or not, and I'm responding to a call where he's out there shooting wildly in a neighborhood, and the family said they were afraid of him, you don't have much of a choice. Because you hit that guy with a taser. I mean, we've all seen videos. People will walk through tasers. The police officers just, it's an ugly thing to watch, but I believe it was 100% necessary. What more could they do?
Not much. For sure, they didn't want to bring a psychiatrist in there to help. Like it was mentioned before, during the BLM riots, we were supposed to abolish the police and bring a whole bunch of psychiatrists on. Not happening, people.
If they're all that stuff, though, he protected the person that was inside that house. If he went in there and it was his mother and he's hallucinating and just shot thinking it was somebody else, that's murder. So
I vote for, it was 100% unfortunate. It was 100% unfortunate, Cody's comment. Oh my God. It was very unfortunate, but but I can't take it. It was
He's just messing
unfortunate, but
around.
I do think that it was. I mean, I think it was justified. I mean, it would only have taken a split second for him to turn with that gun in his hand and start firing at the officers. I mean, I don't think that. And when you're in a split second decision making mode, and somebody came across the officer's radio right as they were turning the corner around the back of that trailer and said, "Do not let him in that other house." So that is going in the office. And I'm assuming that was a supervising officer on the scene or somebody that's saying, "Don't let him in that other house." And I don't know which one of you just said it, but if he went in that house and was hallucinating,
Well,
I think that was Drax.
Why didn't they clear the house?
How?
Yeah, we do think they would have cleared the houses around the area because he's got a gun just if he could pop up and you know where the bullets go.
Well,
I would be
it's
worried
probably
about-
because it wasn't safe to start clearing the house, because if he has a gun and he is around that property, then he probably will start shooting people. Because God knows what his
I think what
vision
she
is.
means, Roden, is telling on the phone, like, you guys might want to get out of the like step outside and leave.
I am not getting out of the house when the lunatic is outside shooting at me. Are you crazy?
Right.
Drax,
I'm with Roden.
Drax, you're going to send me to the fire, Drax.
They had several hours to, during this apparently. So to me, why wouldn't you clear any of the trailers around if it was a real threat? Because God knows bullets can go through trailer walls, and
then they have a perimeter issue if they let him in that house and he can take a stance somewhere, and I don't know, then he can randomly start picking people up from inside the house. Cops.
Yeah, it started off with like a poor
You
man's
guys
way.
are missing the whole damn point. The point is there's two things that you need to look at: protect themselves or others from immediate death or serious injury. Stop fleeing the suspect who poses clear. It is both are correct. Both is justifiable. That's it. What the hell that meth addict did before or after, it don't matter. He's dead. He went to hell. That's all.
Oh my goodness, Roden. So
Oh my
Jesus,
God.
Jesus.
I got to put a shirt on. Roden said flexing first, so I know she was looking at my picture.
Oh my God.
Hey, you know what? If you would have come out like that in your, old glory with a gun, I would probably say, "Oh shit," but you didn't. So instead, you got a big old fat slob running around with a gun. Shoot him.
I love you.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. All right, we're running out of time. What's our verdict?
Yeah, I still don't know how they let him get tiptoe through the tulips and go over to his mom's house in the middle of all this, but such
Well,
is
they
life.
would have had the only way to
They were
stop him
waiting
would
for
have been to drop him
psychiatrists.
over
Don't
there.
worry
Yeah,
about it.
if you ask me, that gave him more time. So when they let him do that, it was another shot, I guess. They've been putting up with it. They couldn't let him start Waco in there by himself and hold up for days.
Look, the fact that it's either, there has to be a less lethal method, I would imagine. I mean, that's it?
They tried
shoot to
that
kill?
K at Waco. It's called tear gas.
Hey,
It didn't work
Hold
out.
it.
There isn't
Grandma
much
Kate
lesser
says we're
evil.
speculating.
No. Wait a second. They could have just shoot him with darts that will put him down, but
He's got a 9mm in his hand while you're playing with darts.
So
That's
by
gun
the
to
time
knife.
the
We
dart
can't do
will
that.
start working, that 9mm will work faster. So let's
love
not speculate. He was a danger to others, and the guy
I'd love
went
to see the
night-night.
pro dart shooter. I'd love to see the pro dart shooter with a straw shoot that son of a bitch, but it don't work like that. He's got a gun.
No, it
All right.
don't, because it takes a minute.
The only other thing I wanted to point out is, well, procedurally, not having a perimeter and allowing him to get to the house, from what I was hearing from Jason with his little tip, may not have been right. They showed a lot of patience and restraint to get to that point. This didn't
Yes.
happen over 10 minutes.
Oh
This
my
happened
God, Cody,
over 2
I
Cody,
hours.
agree.
you need to stop.
Hey, I agree, Cody. It's a
Cody.
person, not an African rhino.
Cody,
Well, he should
I
be.
said, wouldn't that be
A
massive
minute
if
and
they had that
25
kind of
seconds,
option? Like,
folks. A minute and
Hey,
25
guys,
seconds.
you just need
22.
to think about
Yeah,
it this way. Right now, at this point, the guy is drug-free and enjoying
yeah.
himself. So let's do it. It's a justifiable homicide.
Police are on the scene, so is professional dart
what does
blowers.
What's Kay Daly say? We have 1 minute left.
Okay.
I think that there's more to this. I don't know that it was justifiable.
Okay, don't be a rhino.
Come on, Kay.
Okay, it qualifies for
They didn't
section
have the
2
dogs,
and 3
Kay.
here.
Okay,
Roden says
Kay.
world's better off without him.
No, he's drug-free. He just rehabilitated forever.
I might be the one holdout.
I need a vote, Drax.
I say it was justifiable.
Roden,
Yeah, no bill.
justifiable. I'm going to go with justifiable. I'm going to go against K.
I'm going to say not.
So 4 justifiable, 1 unjustifiable.
Yes.
Yes?
4 and 1. Yep.
It's going to be a no bill. The majority takes it, no formal charges. Kay, you really got to look at the jury instructions. And when you sit on a jury, that's the way it is. You're just like, well, there's something I didn't see, so you need to show me something else. That you're going to get what the evidence is, what they have. You have to make a decision on that. But there are really only 2 questions on a justifiable homicide. Was it reasonable for him to be in fear for himself or others from death or serious bodily injury or harm? Or is he fleeing and would a reasonable person believe that he'd be dangerous to other people as he flees? I think in this case, both would be a yes.
Joe, do you got time for me to answer one of Kay's questions?
You got real quick.
Okay. So, number one, there's action versus reaction. And if somebody walks out with a gun in their hand, by the time it takes that person to lift that gun and point it at you, you're dead. You cannot react fast enough. And there's case law after case law that says that if you're confronted with somebody with a gun in their hand, the reason I brought up the qualities of life from law enforcement on this, him walking into another house, you just put victims in jeopardy. They cannot let him get in that house, regardless if they don't or they don't. I agree with you guys on the perimeter thing. I'll shut up there because we're at 0, so just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you, Jason. That does actually shed some light on it and said a little different than I did. Folks, we have actually some sponsors for the grand jury. One of them is the Range Minded Podcast. If you are a 2A freedom-loving American, you should be following the Range Minded Podcast, and you should be listening to him. He covers a lot of 2A news, especially in the legal world where there's laws passed or maybe some judgments that have been decided that affect the 2A world and what's legal and what's not legal. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to tell these days, but here's the Range Minded Podcast.
Have you ever wondered to yourself, man, what time does the store close? Or where's the best cheeseburger near me? Well, I'm not going to answer those questions. That's what your damn phone is for. Use that. Instead, if you have stuff related, to the 2A world, I'm your man. My name's Steve. I run the Range Minded Podcast. On the podcast, we talk about all things Second Amendment, whether it be new guns or gear. Maybe we talk about some training. We'll dig into Washington and the shenanigans they get up to. Sometimes we talk about the Supreme Court and the crap that they're doing. It's always a good time, a little smorgasbord of the 2A, if you don't mind me using that narrative. Either way, you can find us whether on YouTube or Rumble, Range Minded Podcast. I'm also on all sorts of streaming services, wherever you listen to your podcast, Range Minded Podcast. You can jump on the website, rangemindedpodcast.com. Maybe stop by, buy a patch and some other things. There you can link to the social medias and all that other stuff. Hope to see you there. It's always a good time. Anyways, you guys have fun, stay safe, and always stay range minded. See you guys soon.
Absolutely recommend you catch him on Spotify, any place that has a podcast. He's on YouTube, he's on Rumble, he's on X. You can catch him anywhere that there's a social media platform. I highly recommend him doing so. Before we move on, I want to make sure that we recognize Grandma Kate. She was a not justified vote on there. She went with K on that. And she also said that people need to look outside of the box and look at the big picture. I don't disagree with you guys, but keep in mind, you're judging somebody on information that they may not have had. Remember, the police department's not going to go to prison if you bill them. It's going to be a police officer, which I'm not against if that's what needs to happen, but just keep that in mind. With that, let's move into our case number 3.
The emergency, please.
Hi, I'm at the abandoned building by Old Sacramento.
Which abandoned building? Do you know the address?
I don't know the address. It's the only one right here between Rail Yard and fucking Old Sacramento.
Okay. Do you know the cross street near Rail Yard?
I Street.
Okay. What's going on?
I've been just taking for a long time. You're gonna be fucked up. You're not coming out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on?
So he started knifing me. He tried to molest me.
Okay. I need you to tell me more of where you are because you're mapping near Jaboom Street. Does that sound right? Does that sound right?
Huh?
Are you near the I Street Bridge?
Near the I Street Bridge.
Okay. Can you tell me more about what's happening?
He tried to molest me and he threw a knife at me.
Who?
This guy, Johnny.
Do you know who he is? I mean, like, are you cousins? Like,
He
friends?
stole how like, it was my boyfriend, but he's like playing games.
Okay, did he hit you with the knife?
He stole my stab. He stole how stuff from my house. Yeah, it's just a messed up situation.
Is he still there?
Yes.
Okay, does he still have the knife?
No, he threw it at me.
Did it hit you?
No, but he has my BB gun. He tried to shoot me with it.
Okay, well, officers are going to want to make sure you're okay. I just want to make sure you don't need an ambulance or anything like that.
I don't need an ambulance, no.
Okay.
He has anyway, he needs to go to jail for his warrant.
Do you know what warrant it is?
For failure to register.
Do you know his last name?
Valcorda. You shouldn't do that to me, motherfucker. Thinking he was going to play me into it. The fuck? You don't do that to people. You don't steal people's stuff.
Officers arrived on scene at around 12 o'clock p.m. and located Valcorda, who fled on foot from officers with what appeared to be a firearm in his hand. Officers pursued Valcorda but lost sight of him near the water line near Matsui Park. An officer observed the suspect place the gun to his head.
32 and 76. We're still waiting for a translator.
Everyone, we got it. He's about to go. That much of him, he's running.
Not the first number. Not that.
You better stop! Johnny, stop! I'm gonna take you to the ground! Stop! Drop the gun! Drop it! He's got a gun to his head. Johnny, stop! Johnny, stop!
Hey, people on the truck. He's beginning to get a gun to his head. We can't call it to be together now. Exactly what John wanted to order.
Don't want the wires. Let me break off your after, please.
I can't see anything.
No. I see him.
You don't want me to come. He's running. He's going towards the water.
Copy. So walk these arms down towards water.
Let's.
We do have information that Can you let advice?
I don't know if it's BB gun. I just listened to his firearms. I don't see his
Copy. I'm sure it's going to be kind of prison.
About the water. We've lost visual.
Northern contact team's going with announcements.
Sacramento Police Department. Any and all pedestrians, we need you to come up to the bike trail with your hands up at this point. Sac PD K9. Johnny Balcorda, we know that you are hiding down there. We do not want to have to hurt you. We need you to come out with your hands up, nothing in your hand, and surrender. You are completely surrounded. Attention on the ground, attention on the ground. This is the Sacramento Police Department. Johnny Balcorda, you are completely surrounded. We know that you are hiding down by the riverbed. We need you to come out with your hands up, nothing in your hands, and surrender peacefully. Sacramento Police Department K9, Johnny Balcorda, if you decide to flee, we will send a dog. That dog will find you, and that dog will bite you. We do not want to have to hurt you. Come out now, surrender peacefully, with your hands up in the air, and walk up to the bike trail. Attention on the ground, this is the Sacramento Police Department. Any and all pedestrians, including fishermen, we need you to come up to the bike trail at this point with your hands up.
I think the only we got running. People are running. People are running on the island over there. Heel.
Johnny Balcorda, we see you. You'll send the dog. Hands up right now.
Good. Yep. Johnny, hands up! Stop. Johnny, hands. No. Drop the gun! Heel! Heel! Hey, give up, Johnny! Give me Stop fighting the dog! Give me hands! Give me the other hand! Give me the other hand!
This is video from Officer Number 2's body-worn camera.
Hey, he gets you right. Hey, he's got a gun! He's got a gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Where's the gun? I got the gun. Hey, give up, John!
A California Highway Patrol helicopter was overhead as the incident occurred. The suspect could be seen striking the dog with the firearm before being detained by officers. The California Highway Patrol helicopter, which had a paramedic-trained officer on board, landed shortly after and assisted Sacramento police officers in providing emergency medical aid.
Got a chest seal? Yeah. Yep.
Everybody okay right here?
Let me find some blood. I got blood. He's got one in the arm. No. Get fire. Kill 3.
They're on their way.
The suspect was transported to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. After receiving treatment, he was booked into the Sacramento County Main Jail on multiple charges, including brandishing an imitation firearm, assaulting a police canine, resisting arrest, and his outstanding felony warrant for possession of a controlled substance. The weapons pictured were recovered at the scene. After investigators examined them, both were determined to be imitation firearms.
Okay, there's your video. Jason, do you want to weigh in before or after?
I'll go after.
Very well. Let's go into the examination phase. Drax, jury members, this is your opportunity to review the video, parts of the video that you'd like to see, and ask Jason any questions. The floor is yours.
First off, badass dog. Like that dog. I don't think they could have really done much, okay? Right? I mean, he resisted. They went
You
up
guys
on
are
him.
deliberating now. You ask us questions, and then we'll let you deliberate.
Jason, it seems as though they thought he had a gun. Is it standard operating procedure to send a canine in even though there's a weapon? Even though they didn't know it wasn't real?
Yes, it is. I will say, did you hear when the dog left? Joe, maybe the canine handler said "fuck" when the dog. I don't know if he intended to do that, but it was just sorry. Yes, you can send a dog after a guy with an arm suspect.
And it looks like he bit him in the groin. That was pretty impressive.
Was it? Did he say fuck, or was it a command he was giving? Because I know a lot of times they'll use German or something like that for commands. I wondered that. I actually saw
No,
that
it's a
video
command.
the other
It's a
day.
German command. There's two commands, Russian or German. It depends on what dog it is.
Sound like
Oh,
fuck
that's
to me.
right. Roden's a canine expert.
Yeah, she's expert.
Ours is trained in Dutch, just saying.
Hey, as long as I don't train them, fuck will be my first word anyway, so it doesn't matter.
All right, guys, no portion of the video that you want to see again?
No,
Not for me.
No.
Let's go into deliberations. Big Ron, can you set us up? All right, folks, you have 10 minutes, and we'll get the deliberation instructions up for you, but you're really answering two questions. Drax, it's up to you.
What do you guys think?
Well,
I know Roden's going to do it just for the dog because he did a good job.
No, the
Good
dog
boy.
did an excellent job. I think that they
knew
did
it.
everything right. I
These are
think that
going
they
up
did
river.
everything by procedure, but protect themselves or others. So they actually did do what it was supposed to be. The funny part was that when they were announcing that the dog is going to be released and he will bite you. Now, for people who don't understand how bad the bite will be, that's their problem, not ours.
my question is, the guy lived, I guess, for justifiable homicide. It seemed as though there was a whole gang of police officers surrounding the suspect right there, and the dog had taken him down. I'm wondering if they had tried anything beforehand to take him down, other than, releasing the dog. And the dog was awesome, by the way, awesome. But regardless, if the guy didn't die, is it still justifiable homicide?
Well, he had the
Well-
fake gun, right? He had that fake gun. It looked real.
And I mean, I think personally that, it's hearsay from the officer's point of view. Like, they heard that it was a BB gun. It looks like a real gun, and if I'm a cop, I don't want to take that. I don't want to take that chance. Like, well, it's just a BB gun. It's going to sting a little bit if he shoots me, but. I don't know. I don't think I'd want
Put
to
your
be
eye
willing
out
to
with
take that chance.
It's a real soap opera in
Put your
this,
eye out
man.
with that kind of thing. The Red Rider. They'll
mean,
put your eye
throwing
out, Walt.
Throwing a knife and then, it's a real soap opera. So I don't know. But I think I'm going with no bill.
Yeah, me too.
Well, the guy was trying to kill himself with a BB gun or water gun, whatever. He didn't succeed. The dog probably woke him up or did the Lauren Bobbitt on him. That's two different, things.
He was hitting at that dog with the gun too. So Yeah, look at it that way. If it was real, he probably
Yeah,
would shot the dog.
so if they would have shot him, it would have been justifiable anyway.
Yeah, and the dog is not a dog in this scenario. The dog is a police
He's a cop.
officer. Yeah.
Yep.
If the gun had been real, I have no doubt that he would have used it. Yeah, suicide by cop, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It looked. I seen them. They looked real. I mean, from a distance, if he's waving that around, the guy was like, he's got a gun to his head. You know. So, Buck, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think because there was no, murder or suicide by cop here, it's no bill, but the police don't have the luxury, even if somebody says it's a BB gun. One of those looked pretty real to me, and, they sent the dog in first. The other thing too is those officers seemed a little bit experienced because, they're either really bad at shooting at close range or they purposely aim to, hit him in the shoulders because I think the guy would have been dead if they were trying to kill him. I think they were just trying to put him down.
They had even a chopper in the air watching them too to lower down, gave him medic.
Well, and he held the gun to his head, right? I mean, the cops wouldn't have known at that, right? They weren't sure at that point. So clearly, they had indications that he thought, that the officers thought, well, he's holding it to his head.
They wanted to light him up, he'd be dead. So
yeah, they put up with him for a minute. They were down there going like, "You're down there. We know you're down there." They put up with it for a minute, trying to help.
The officer did two commands to the dog. Your first command was fob, which is, you guys saw it was fog. He was trying to calm the dog down to let him to heal, and then he released the dog by Nim. So the dog already knew that he has to go, and he has to go for a kill. So it doesn't matter. The guy was not going to do anything because the dog, it doesn't matter if you hit him 100 times, the dog will do what needs to be done. So to me, it was totally justifiable what happened. And because he hit the dog, he should go for a long time.
I have to say, honestly, I'd rather be shot than have my twig and berries chewed on by one of those police dogs. So
I see in the comments that B said no, he's a dog, not a police officer.
He is a police officer.
He is a police officer, at least in every cop I know.
Yeah.
I have a friend that's a canine officer that their dogs are considered police officers.
Okay, I get to interject with a point of law. They can have some special protections, but they are not considered a person or a police officer. They are still considered property. There's some enhanced offenses out there if you were to assault one or injure one. But if you were to kill a police dog, you would not be charged with killing a person or a police officer. So they have some special.
Considered to be equipment.
They had property. You're right, but they do have some special exceptions to like cruelty and cruelty to animals enhanced because it's a service dog. And it's not just police dogs, but service dogs. But no, technically, they are not police officers in any state.
Is that open but is that changed by jurisdiction?
Not to the point where they call a dog a human being. There's some.
No, I'm not saying a human being.
Yeah, no, there's no state where you're charged. You would be charged equally for killing a police dog if you did a police officer.
Right.
There can be some enhancements in most states and have
the police horses, though.
Well, I'm voting no bill.
No bill.
Hooch, baby. Turner and Hooch.
No bill.
No bill.
Yeah. All right, we're good on this one there, Joe.
Sounds like we have a decision.
No
and that
bill.
is a no bill. All right, folks, before we get on to our next case, we're not going to discuss this one. I think you guys nailed it. We're going to move on for some timing issues. But another sponsor that we have is 3D Response. And it's kind of a handshake sponsorship because I push this at every opportunity. For people who want gun control, for people who want 2A rights, for everybody that's concerned about children being killed in schools, 3D Response is your source. It is the solution to this. Watch this, and I encourage each and every one of you to go to 3dresponse.com and check it out for yourself, and then talk to your school board members, your city officials, your state officials, whoever it takes to get this into your school. I think you'll understand why when you do a little research on it. Yes, folks, that video doesn't give it justice. It's kind of cool to watch, but go to 3dresponse.com. Check it out for yourself. It is a full comprehensive system to address violence in our schools. It provides protection for the children in the event a mass shooter shows up there, some crazy shows up to do harm to your children. It'll protect your children until a good gun gets there to end the madness. But they also do prevention. They have a whole psychological team that's attached to this system that will help identify maybe a school shooter before it happens. And if the odd event, the horrible situation that it were to occur, they also provide aftercare on this. But I will tell you that if that's in your child's system, school, the system's in your child's school, and they were to be the unfortunate soul to have that happen in your jurisdiction, the body count or the casualties coming out of that won't be what you hear on the news today. Jason, I'll give you 30 seconds. We're short on time. I'll give you 30 seconds if you want to bone up on the 3D response system. Go right ahead.
Police officers involved in an active in a shooting situation, their chance of survival without cover is about 17%. Their chances with cover and concealment and ongoing communication bumps up to over 85%. If a gun is presented in your school, we're not looking at this tactically. And our system actually provides the tools for an effective response and not some one-trick pony that's technology or whatever. It's keep it simple, stupid. It's a quick response. It's tools that actually work that are hard to overcome. And you're right. It's the before, the during, and the after.
Guys, I've known Jason for about a year. When he first started coming into spaces, I kind of thought he was off his rocker. He'd say some crazy stuff, and I was more like, "Hey, let's harm some teachers. At least give it, a chance if this crazy stuff happens." But after I looked at it with my experience in military, my experience in law enforcement, I'm kind of ashamed that I didn't think about it because it is so simple, and it needs to be in every school. And it doesn't make your school look like a prison. School still looks like a school, but it'll keep your kids safe. Now I want to go into a new segment. We've got a Twitter war that we're going to ask our jury to side on. This is going to go fast. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. I will go back to the video moves a little quick, but you're going to see post on a timeline from You Are a Smartass Carl on X. He is a 2A advocate and also a gun collector. So a lot of people post things on his timeline, and this was a post on his timeline that stirred up a little bit of a kerfuffle, if you will. But here we go.
If you need advice or help or learning to use a gun, DM me. Excellent mouthfeel, 10 out of 10. Thank you, remember. LaRue. This is not what the Second Amendment community needs. There's a clear and critical distinction between principled 2A absolutists and social media personalities who simply happen to own guns, but you care less about your own life and your own safety. Couldn't agree more, brother, disavow. Even if you're a top-notch pro and have created the gun 10 times, it sets a bad precedence for those less educated to make a fatal mistake. I do not condone sticking a barrel in any mouth for any reason for the clicks. Come on, I agree wholeheartedly with you, but respectfully, I kinda gotta disagree here. The four rules of gun safety are very important. We shouldn't treat them as immutable laws, otherwise someone who is try-faring for training is guilty of violating at least 3 of them. It's called trigger confidence. Okay, Gruber, not even any trigger discipline, bro. They have a gun in their mouth, you sound gay. Have trigger confidence and not trigger shame. Reddit finger cuck. I am going to sound like an asshole for this, but women belong in the kitchen, have no need to be voting and shouldn't be making any major decisions after what they have shown the past 80 years. They have proven they are incapable of it. I noticed right away her finger is on the trigger, not the wisest thing to do. Any mistakes could be quite deadly. I don't give a fuck about your gun code. Pocket like shit, alright, fucking manifest guns into existence from the fucking ether with plastic spaghetti made from cornstarch. I am a fucking vibe alchemist. To this trolling out of jealousy, you presented yourself as one by saying what gun culture needs. You have an inflated ego because you have cool followers who only like you because you have cool toys, and they wish they had just those boy and come like you.
Okay, Jerry, you have any questions on what was posted in the two sides of this matter?
I have no idea what I just watched.
Neither do I. I was like, it's too much F and C and all that stuff.
What it is? On crack or something? The way you talk so fast.
Yes, guilty.
Ow, hang on now. Let's go back.
I don't even know what I just watched.
Yeah, let's take a look another time.
Okay, here we go. You had the post here of a gun owner a female putting the muzzle of a gun into her mouth. And she says, if you need advice or help learning to use a gun, DM me. And then she says about this post, excellent mouth feel, 10 out of 10. Thank you, Mr. LaRue, which is the manufacturer of the gun. You have Carl, who is a 2A advocate, and he's part of the gun culture, as they say. He comes, it's on his timeline, or he responds to it. And he says, this is not what the Second Amendment community needs. There is clear and critical distinction between principled 2A absolutists and social media personalities who simply happen to own a gun, which he's claiming that she is. So everyone jumps on both sides. There are folks that are on Carl's side saying that, look, this is not something that a responsible person should do. This is irresponsible, that someone could see that and think they could do it and wind up blowing their head off. And then there are other people saying that, hey, you're free to do what you want to do. It's freedom of speech. So it's really, is it freedom of speech or is it irresponsible for this person to post with a gun in their mouth? That's what the question for the jury.
Yeah, we can deliberate.
It's hard because I am a First Amendment
Wait, Dave, you
absolutist.
need to deliberate.
Yeah, we need to deliberate.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 5 minutes and 55 seconds. You got it.
There's limits to First Amendment speech, but at the same time, I prefer the method of more speech as a solution. It doesn't look dangerous, but there are limits. Fire in the crowded theater sort of stuff, I guess. But
my question is, why does she put a gun in her mouth? There is nothing else she can put in her mouth? That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I know. It is, but
it's free expression. I don't want to be like the England people, man. Start holding people accountable for stupid shit. We've seen.
I'm
worse.
sorry, it's not that's not free expression. It's stupidity at its biggest.
I think
Get a
that
man.
I think it's completely one of the most dumb things I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
But I don't know that it's. I mean, it's stupid as hell. I mean, it's beyond stupid. But is it? I mean, I don't.
I'd say let her be.
I think she has the right to do it. I mean, right?
But
am I wrong about that?
I think so, but at the same time, does it incite others to violent self-harm, that sort of stuff? God,
she wasn't trying to incite people. She just, in her mind, she's going to say she just put out a statement for her own to the person saying it fits.
Yeah, intent has to be part of it.
She was gonna teach people how to do something with her mouth. I'm not understanding what she was gonna teach them.
I think she need a different profession.
That's a different
That's what
issue.
I said. Get a man
Only
instead
fan.
of the gun. There is two different options.
Part of my fear is the narrowing of
Look
the
up
First
that.
Amendment. That's my fear, is the narrowing of what the First Amendment covers. That scares me more.
That's what I fear. Let's not be like England now.
Yeah, I don't think that incites. I mean, that doesn't.
No, she wasn't calling for anybody to do a suicide or anything.
Right, except for maybe other mentally ill people, like she obviously is, or what. And that's I don't know, man. What is the question? Is she within her First Amendment right to do that? Is that the question, Joe?
I don't think it's an either or between the First Amendment or the Second Amendment, quite frankly. But
well, the question is
she's
that
dumb or she's okay. She's dumb.
Go ahead, Joe.
well, the question is that is the First Amendment just as powerful as the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms and the right to say what you want, even when others may not agree?
yeah, look, the First Amendment absolutely is. In fact, if the First Amendment falls, the Second Amendment falls. If the Second Amendment falls, the First Amendment falls. Absolutely, we are the last best hope on the planet, because we are the only ones who've codified the First Amendment in our founding documents.
Just real quick, I think though, if you make a public post improperly brandishing or use of a firearm, at the very least, if that was picked up by the police in that area, they could certainly pull the firearm permit and take the firearms away. So again, First Amendment, okay, but improperly brandishing a firearm and operating it dangerously. I mean, I don't know what the rules are in every single state, but I know if they caught wind of that in the crazy state I live in, they'd kick down the door and take the weapons in a
And
second.
I do not want the government deciding and narrowing the scope of the First Amendment. I just don't.
Right. I'm with you, Kay. I'm with you. I agree. I think that, and Buck is right. So, it's like the dog on a chain. If you remove a link every day, eventually the dog's going to be down to one link and never even realize that you removed all the links. I think that it's 1,000% within her First Amendment right. I mean, hell, there's videos out on you. I mean, I don't know about YouTube, but I know there's been videos posted of people live streaming their own, unaliving. So I don't know.
I say leave her to it and let the TOS agreement decide on whatever platform she's using. I'm sure the TOS agreement can do what they want for terms of service, and we don't have to walk on her rights.
That's right. I agree. Totally agree with you, Drex. And Kay.
First, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. As a First Amendment, she is okay to do that, but she displayed the idiocracy to others, and if they're mentally sick, that's their problem and shouldn't be having firearms anyway. So she's fine.
Okay, in the last 20 seconds, to form this up a little easier, if you run across that post, would you post pro for the person that put their gun in the mouth defending their First Amendment right, or would you post against that where Carl did, saying that's irresponsible? So that's the question. Do you think it was responsible or irresponsible, I guess, to post?
As much as I hate it, I'm going to go with the First Amendment, even though she's an idiot.
Pro.
Irresponsible. Doesn't
Yeah,
mean
it's
that she doesn't have the right
irresponsible,
to
but
do it. Irresponsible.
Yeah, irresponsible, but
yeah, it's irresponsible, but not outside of her First
How come
Amendment
the
right.
only men, it's
Okay, hold
only
up.
men that are doing that? Why
we've
women
got
are
a-
okay with that? Okay, people?
We've got a split vote. Drax, you're the tiebreaker.
I say it's within her rights to do it.
Okay. He's lying on the side of the First Amendment. And folks, we'll be doing that. If anybody runs across any good Twitter wars out there, DM me. We're going to do that each week, highlighting some disputes on X. I say Twitter, but X. Let's get to our final case tonight. This is case number 4.
We're at Breaker and 35 Circle, Northtown.
What's your picture, Austin Police Department? Reason for the stops, you didn't use your turn signal when you made the right in here.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
All right, do you have your ID on you?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Alright, I'm sorry about that.
Nothing. Any weapons or anything in the car? What are you worried about?
Huh.
Let me step on that. Is it cool if I pat you down, dude? Just make sure you don't have any guns or anything.
811, shots fired, shots fired!
Oh my god. Nice.
Alright, start or stage EMS. We're going to need more units to close off Breaker eastbound. Hey man, where's the gun at? Cleve, let me see your hands. You're reaching.
No, I'm not. I'm not working.
Yes, you are.
I'm not
Do me a favor, man, okay?
Line of fires towards Michi Lobos.
All right.
Come from the service
We're
road.
gonna get you help.
We are in the Chevron parking lot on the east side driveway.
Hey, do me a favor, bro. All right? Hey, crawl to your left. All right, where's the gun at?
We only see one hand.
Careful.
I believe the gun's on his right side. He's stating he cannot move, cannot see his left hands. For 43.
Hey, get the vehicle.
Do you have anything on you?
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. You turn it off.
No, you're gonna stay there. Hey, I'm just gonna come back here because she's in the line of fire and she has a kid.
All right, that's fine.
I'm not moving. We're not going to stay.
Hey, Kirschberg, I'm gonna have her and her kid move back.
Can you open
Hey,
your door? Open
hey,
your door. Open your door.
hey.
Open your door. Open one of your doors.
Just move to my car. Move to my car.
Hands. Hey, I'm moving up.
Yeah, both of us are.
Do not reach for the gun. Let me see your hands.
Where's it at? It was right waistband. We saw the imprint.
It's underneath.
Roll over.
Roll over in your
on
stomach.
Do it
Roll
now.
over in your stomach.
All right, flip him over. Flip him over.
Hey.
Someone glove up. Put your hands behind. Where's the gun?
You got gloves, Kurt?
No, I do not.
I get drinking water.
Where's the gun at, dude?
I don't know, sir.
Keep her arms.
No, I can't move.
You can't reach like that, dude.
No, I'm not reaching.
Hey, give me his other hand.
Can I drink your water, please? You don't gotta handcuff me. I'm not doing nothing, man.
It's over there. Where's the gun?
I threw it.
It's in my pants.
Get the gun.
It's underneath. It's in my right here. Back of his underwear or something. Bag or.
Right here, right here. Gun. Watch out.
Where's it at?
It's right here. It's right here.
I got it.
She's by my car.
Hey,
she has a
she's
kid.
at the back of the Tahoe.
She has a kid.
Okay, folks, there's your video. Jason, any comments you want to make before we go to the examination phase?
No, I'll let them ask questions.
Very good. Let's move into the examination phase. Grand jury, this is where you get to ask myself or Jason questions or watch any other portions of the video that you'd like to rewatch. Time is yours.
Who was watching? Who was shooting the gun? The guy was shooting the gun.
When you say the guy, you're talking about the suspect, the person that
Yeah,
was
the
shot?
suspect. Sorry.
Do you want to watch that portion of the video again?
Yeah, let's see that first.
Yeah,
initial.
because it wasn't clear what was going on there.
Okay. It is a fast-moving video. I'm going to make it large screen for you, and let's watch.
At Breaker and 35, sir. We're northbound. What's your picture, Austin Police Department? Reason for the stops, you didn't use your turn signal when you made the right in here.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we have a valid traffic stop. He says that you failed to turn, indicate a turn, and that's a valid. This is Texas. That's a valid traffic stop. So we've got a good traffic stop by the officer.
All right, do you have your ID on you? Thank you.
Alright, I'm sorry about that.
Nothing. Any weapons or anything in the car? What are you worried about? Okay. Let me step on up.
Was it cool if I pat you down, dude? Just make sure you don't have any guns or anything. Pat you down, dude. Just make sure you don't have any guns or anything. Cool if I pat you down, dude. Just make sure you don't have any guns or anything.
811, shots fired, shots fired.
Does that satisfy? We'd like to see more.
Yeah, I'm good for a second.
No, I'm good too.
Nice.
I'm good.
Yeah, wow.
Any questions?
Not for me.
Let's move into the deliberation phase. Big Ron, set us up. Okay, the clocks are running. We'll get your jury instructions up there in a moment. There we go. You got 2 questions. Did they do it to protect themselves from others or from imminent death or serious bodily harm? Or did they do that to stop a fleeing suspect who poses a clear immediate danger to others? If either one of those is yes, you must return a no bill.
Yeah, I got no bill on this one.
Yeah, they found the gun in his underwear in the back of him, so he took
Yeah,
off.
he was trying to pull it. Like he was trying to
I
get
would
the
say.
gun out.
What's the? Did we ever find out of curiosity, is the gun even registered, or is it
Well, you guys in communist states are all worried about whether the gun's legal or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the gun's legal. The gun's present. That's the only thing you need to know.
Right.
We don't register guns in Texas. We carry them.
Man,
No bill
traffic
here.
stops
He
are
was-
dangerous.
He pushed against the officer and attempted to draw down on the officer. If he got that weapon out, we would have had an officer most likely shot. Plus, there's a little kid and a woman in the car. So,
Yep.
Sorry, no bill. Bye-bye.
Yep. I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
I would say so. Cut and dry, Joe.
Yeah.
We have a verdict.
Drax, you made Rude giggle.
No bill.
No bill.
No bill.
The guy was a dumb.
Guy was a dumb.
Okay, that's our verdict. No bill on our last case. Let's talk about this one. Y'all seem to come pretty fast to this decision, and yet he had a gun in his underwear. Isn't that one of you guys said?
Yeah, it was in his. I think it was in his back, right? I mean,
It was in
where's
his
it at?
pocket.
It was in his
Right.
pocket. Yeah, I'm just saying they were digging for it, and he had a gun.
But yet in the other
Yeah, plus
deliberations, y'all were worried about the gun or whether the gun present really presented a danger. This guy had it in his underwear.
Yeah, but he had a look on his face.
He had that look. Look at his doing, man. It's like there's a luncheon
I'm
after. He had that look on his face.
I'll tell you what,
I'm
Ken,
kidding.
you and I being in the same state, if I'm ever charged with a crime, I hope you're not sitting on the grand jury.
Dirk was right, though. I mean, if you're concealed carry, you have to tell the officer you've got a weapon, and
That's right.
Yeah.
you
He
know,
got out dancing with the guy, like, hey, come over here. You got a weapon? No, let me out. Let me slide through. I mean, he was panicking.
That guy could have been a gang member. He was tatted up like you read about. Doesn't mean he was, but he could have been. But the fact that he shoved the officer and attempted to draw it down makes it pretty clear cut. I'm interested, Jason, procedurally, what did you think about that, taking him out of the vehicle like that?
Hey, before we go to Jason, watch this last little bit. Watch. I'm gonna flip it around a couple of times and tell me if you don't see a gun.
Touch it out, dude. Just make sure you don't have any guns or anything.
This is the gun from the officer, guys.
Do you guys see a gun?
You can't really
Where it
tell
looked like
about
he had
better
one in his
light
pocket,
and
but I don't
slowing
see
it
him
down.
pull it.
I saw that he took the gun from the officer. That's what I'm thinking.
He thought he took it
No,
from
I
the
don't.
gun? I didn't see that,
Yeah.
man. I thought, Buck, I thought you said he was jumping up and down going to shoot the guy. If he got to that gun.
If he got to that gun, the officer most likely would have taken rounds without a doubt. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
if he's willing to assault an officer, he's certainly willing to shoot one.
Yeah.
Is that the definition of a K?
I mean, he got it halfway out. it
Definition
looked
of a
like.
lot of mass and not enough sleep. Okay, people.
Can I
Okay.
pipe in?
Yeah, go ahead,
Go ahead,
please.
Jason.
So you got to look at the totality of the circumstances here. What I saw when the officer walked up to the driver's door, my immediate thought in my head was passenger bad. And I'm not sure why I thought that. And then when he brought him out of the car, I did not like the way this moment happened here. Right here, he's not listening. And then you watch that moment, that it's not that he has a gun in his hand, it's the action of what he did. He reached down to his hip and made the effort to show that I have a weapon. And in that moment, it happened so goddamn fast. If you just make that motion that you reach down to your hip and you pulled your hand up, that officer has literally less than a second to decide, is that a weapon or not? He made this moment, this action. And that's where I think people put yourself in that situation. You see somebody do that. How do you respond? And it goes back to what Joe says, a reasonable person. If you're an officer and that moment happens just like that, he reaches down, pulls up, and points his hand at him, would that person in that moment believe, does he have a weapon or not? Because if you don't respond, you're dead if there's a weapon there. So it happens so fast that we've had cases up here where somebody took their seatbelt off so fast and they just see the flash of the hole in the seatbelt and they think it's a muzzle. It's so quick.
And Jason, he didn't turn to run. He was still facing the officer. And to me, he could have drawn right there.
Correct.
I don't know why you guys don't see it. Look at his right hand. He's got a pistol in his right hand.
Can you slow it down or stop it right there?
I can't slow it down here. I can't slow it down. Take some editing.
Can't see it. See,
I
it looks
believe
like
he
it
pulls.
comes out. But when
I believe
if
he pulls
had
it.
it drawn. I can't see it.
When he stands up, I believe. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, maybe he was reaching for some dentine for fresh breath.
And came out with a black pistol.
They're always doing that up in the hood, Ken, looking for the dentine.
I believe he pulled the pistol and they said, "We're going to pat you down." I think he pulls it out with his right hand and starts doing the sideways dance. If you'll go, once he clears the officer, when he's doing that skippity thing, away from the officers, look in his right hand.
I can't tell.
Yeah, it didn't look like he made it out of his pants, but maybe he was attempting to, though.
Maybe it wasn't the gun out of his pants.
My point here is that moment right there, what is that officer's mindset when this guy just shoves him, pushes him away, and makes that action? It could have been a cell phone. It could have been a gun. That officer does not know what he has in his hand. He just saw that action. That's my point.
He's got something in his right hand. If you're running trying to get away, you're going to move your right hand unless you're carrying something. That right hand never leaves his waist as he skips maybe 3 times to the street to the ultimate spot where he shot.
Yeah, and that's my point, is that action is more important than what's in his hand. That officer believed, oh shit, he's going for a weapon right now.
He obviously was aggressive.
Curious.
He was obviously aggressive. He was attacking the officer. It was totally justifiable. Whatever the officers did, they did it on right.
I don't disagree. There is something in his right hand there. I can't say for sure it's a firearm, but it appears to be. He's holding it like a firearm, not like a cell phone.
Right. No, my point. Yeah, my point is his actions to that. It could be a fucking popsicle. The way he moved, to me, if I'm that officer, is like, oh shit, he's got something.
Hawkwolf says, "Why ask the dude to get out? Why ask to the pat down?" It looks like this is a closed Chevron. Did use the turn signal to pull into a construction site, a closed business at night. That in of itself merits some sort of investigation. And you in Texas, if you're parked into or you go to a parking lot of a closed business, law enforcement can make contact and identify you in case a theft comes up later. That is a law in Texas. But they failed to use turn signal, indicate turning into the lot as their probable cause for putting them down and pulling the guy out of the passenger seat. I think I'm like Jason. I think I would have done that as well. He looked hinky.
But is that probable
the other thing you got to keep in mind, yes.
For
the probable
passenger?
cause to pull him out.
The other thing to keep in mind is anybody in this space right now, if an officer asked you to exit the car, would you respond like this guy? I mean, that's not a reason. The reasonableness goes on the other person too. So are you going to get out and push this guy and make a motion like that? And most
And
people
run
don't
backwards?
Hell
No,
no.
and that,
No.
look, that's the whole point here to me is the bottom line is take your probable cause and stick it. If a police officer asks you to do something, you do it and you comply. End of story. Because guess what? If you're not doing anything wrong, he's going to say thank you and put you back in the car and you get your ticket and you go home. End of story. I'm
And
tired of the sob stories and all this crap that people talk about every day. I've had enough of it. At the end of the day, the police officers are there to do a job. If you comply, you're not going to have a problem. End of story.
And if you are in compliance with concealed carry, you announce that you have a gun. You do not just whip it out. That officers don't dig that.
Oh, this is Texas. We have constitutional carry. But you're right. How you
still identify, it's
how you display that firearm could make a difference. And I'll be honest with you, he was a self-righteous criminal, Jason. Why did he wait for the officers to get him out? He should have jumped out and got the hoofing from the get. You might beat the cops. Don't wait for them to ask you. Just run on your own.
Amen. Yes.
And I would imagine from what it looked like, the way the dude was backing up, I'm sure he did not get shot in the back as he was running away because he was running backwards facing the cops.
Yeah, exactly, Ken. He didn't. If he was running away, he'd be turned the other way. Okay, he looked like he was ready to pull right there.
Man, that could be
Anytime.
a firearm in his hand right there where you have it frozen.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
They said they found it.
Anytime somebody is running away from the cops or making kind of a movement towards the cops, they are justified because they have a seconds.
They found the gun at the end of the video, Ken. So, I mean, he had a weapon on him.
Yeah.
All right,
But
folks,
that doesn't matter.
Towards the we're getting into the show now. Drax, you're going to do a pub chat after party on this for us, are you not? On an X Space?
Man. Kay's going to open up pub chat, I think, at 11:30. So it's kind of, we're going to have the after party over there. So make sure you join us on X, man. That's where we always are, usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 p.m. EST. But we're hanging out here tonight at Night Court with you, Joe, and we're going to head over there, like I said, in about a half hour, give everybody time to.
Well, why don't you hit that
cigarette.
again? Because I don't know that you gave out your schedule for the pub chat. Folks, pub chat isn't, if you're looking for something to do on the nights that they have them, it's a great, I stop in as often as I can. I'm telling you, you're going to get some real deep down dives on political commentary and the ins and outs of what's going on in today's major headlines. But what is your schedule, Drax?
Well, we're always on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. EST. Me, Kay, and Soviet Rodin. You'll find GM Walls there and Buckster. All of us are there 3 nights a week, 9 p.m. EST.
And that's Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays.
Yep, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
Folks,
And you will have some fun, by the way. It's not all just political talk. It's probably fun.
It is fun, and we're going to have fun tonight. I'm going to be there to witness how many people are going to come in and tell you how you decided all these wrong tonight. But folks, that is our show. Give us 30 minutes. Look for Kay. Kay's going to put out a invite or a reminder for a after party space pub chat style. I want to thank our special guest tonight. You guys were great.
Thank you,
super
Joe.
thankful for you to come in and doing this, and I hope we can do it again. Good night, folks.
Thank you.
Get any money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from my
also known as Duck Corella?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of attempt to
You
criminal.
got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of attempt to criminal.
You have any profession?